Campbell. Notwithstanding any provision in the EDA bylaws to the contrary, as permitted under Virginia Code paragraph 2.2-3708-2A3, Albemarle County's continuity of government ordinance and declaration of a local state of emergency, and the EDA resolution of April 21st, 2020, we're holding this meeting by real-time electronic means and no authority member physically present at a single central location. This is because the pandemic's catastrophic nature makes it impractical or unsafe to assemble in a single location. All authority members are participating electronically. All authority members will identify themselves and state their general physical location during the roll call, which we will hold next. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the county's website. The public has real-time audio-visual access to this meeting over Zoom and real-time audio access over telephone, both as provided in the lawfully posted meeting notice. The public is invited to offer live comment during the public comments period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and must be germane to matters on today's agenda. Will somebody call the roll?
I'll start with the roll call. Director Long is not present today, so we'll start with you, Director Ray.
Here in Albemarle County.
Director Shreve.
Present in Nelson County.
Director Munson.
Ashley, I believe Mr. Munson's in the waiting area as an attendee.
Okay. JT, could you let him in? I don't think I have access. I'll get back to Director Munson. Director Imhoff.
Present in Albemarle County.
Director McNaughton.
Present, Troy, Virginia.
Director Matola.
I'm also present in today.
Supervisor McKeel.
Present in the Vibrant District Magisterial District. I'm sorry. I am really sorry. I think I need to have more of my tea. I am present in Albemarle County in the Vibrant Magisterial District of Jack Jewett.
Thank you, Supervisor. And Director Munson, welcome.
Present in beautiful downtown Scottsville.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. The second item on the agenda is matters from the public. JT, do we have anyone that signed up to speak?
No, Director Ray, we had no one sign up.
Okay. I assume everybody got a copy of the minutes. Everything appeared to be in order. There are minutes of January 18th, 2022. If the minutes are okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, the minutes are approved. The financial report, Mr. Shreve. I think Mr. Shreve is.
There we go. Unmuting. So I didn't receive financials. Is that because JT, there have been no changes to our finances since we last met?
Well, I apologize, Director. I thought that they were attached into the packet that was sent out to directors.
No, I didn't see those.
I apologize. I do have it here that I can send to you if you'd like, or.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with most of the elements. If you'd like, I'll send it to me. I'll take a look and we can simply postpone the financial report by a few minutes while I look them over.
Great.
Okay, I think that's fine. I do have copies that came with the packet. So we can come back to this item if it's okay with everybody.
Sure.
New business. Number A is refunding of Albemarle County 2013 bonds.
Chairman Ray, Vice Chair Ray, please allow me to introduce our Chief Financial Officer, Nelsie Birch. Nelsie and her guest are here today to request a refund bonds. Nelsie, I'll turn it over to you to introduce the guest and take us to this item.
Fabulous, Mr. Johnson. I appreciate that. Hi, everybody. Nelsie Birch, CFO, as Roger mentioned. I was here about a year ago. We had an exciting opportunity a year ago to do some refunding, and we also added some new money last year. This year is just a refunding. I think this is our last opportunity of our existing bonds that we have, and it's a 2013 EDA bond that we'll be hearing a little bit more about. And with me today are members of my team, Daniel Green, who is our Chief of Treasury. So Daniel is the person behind the scenes who makes this all happen, working directly with our bond counsel and our financial advisor, who I will introduce in just a moment. And I believe Heather Taylor, who is his deputy Chief of Treasury. She is new in that role. So this is her first time going through the bond financing process. So today we have Chris Culp, who is our bond counsel. He has been our bond counsel, our esteemed bond counsel for some time, and he can walk through the structure of this, as well as Alex Hawk from Davenport Financial Advisory Firm. And Davenport, as many of you know, it's typically Courtney Rogers who's here, but Alex is here in his stead and can walk through the plan of finance. I'm not sure who I'm turning this over to, so I will just stop talking and one of you can start and explain where we are.
This is Daniel. I think I just wanted to say, Alex, can you talk now? Are you plugged in on the dial-up? You're on mute right now as well.
Oh, he's dialing in by a phone. I think that's him that just popped in the 804 number.
Okay. Yeah, we were trying to work with JT.
Can you all hear me okay now?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, I had some issues with my computer microphone, so I had to dial in by phone. So I appreciate everyone's patience. Yes, happy to walk through the refunding. As Nelsie mentioned, this is the 2013 bond issue. We're looking at refunding about $21.7 million of outstanding debt, which matures by 2033. We have about 11 years left on the bond issue. We've been looking at this one together with staff for about a year and a half now, and we've come to the point where we're within 90 days of the call date on the bond. So basically what that means is that we're able to go out and refinance these with tax-exempt bonds. And right now, we've run the refunding as of, with rates as of the end of January, plus a market cushion of about 50 basis points. And we're currently projecting about $1.9 million in total budgetary savings for the county over the life of the refunded bonds. And that's equivalent to about $175,000 or so per year. And the benchmark that we typically use to measure the viability of a refunding is the net present value of the savings as a percentage of the refunded par amount. And right now, those savings are producing net present value savings of about 7.8% of the refunded par amount, and the typical benchmark is about 3%, so we're more than double that with that 50 basis point cushion from the market, which has been eaten up a little bit over the last few couple weeks as rates have started to increase in anticipation of the Federal Reserve rate hikes, but that cushion is still there in large part. So we look forward to a successful refinancing. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
Alex, are you locked in on the rate?
No, so the rates will be locked in when we go to sell the bonds, which will be around March the 8th. So we've got about 3 weeks away, but we'll be getting the bonds sold ahead of the Fed, the first Fed meeting in March. So that was one of the drivers in terms of developing the schedule, is to try to get into the market before that happens.
Okay. I think that's great. That's a lot of savings. Do we have any discussion about this resolution?
Sounds good to me. 3% benchmark will evaporate pretty soon.
We have a resolution that came in our packets Should we read the heading on this, guys? JT?
Yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
helps identify it for the minutes.
Resolution of the Economic Development Authority of Albemarle County, Virginia, approving a plan to refund certain prior bonds through the issuance of a series of revenue refunding bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $21,500,000. I'm sure everybody who has joined us today has read this document thoroughly. And if everybody is okay with it, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So move.
Second,
I'll second the motion.
okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you. The resolution carries.
And George, for the record, I'm recusing myself.
Okay. Please reflect that, whoever's doing minutes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd just like to recognize Nelsie Birch, Ms. Birch and her team, Daniel and others. I have the really the privilege of working alongside them on a regular recurring basis. And this just sort of exemplifies the financial leadership and stewarded and good stewards of the public money. I don't think I've recognized Ms. Taylor as well. This is the second such refunding that we've had since Ms. Birch has joined us. And I could not be more pleased about the diligence that she is doing and her team is doing in saving the county's monies in numerous ways, whether it's the AAA financial rating, these refinancings and other savings that she's finding as well. So just very much wanted that to be part of the record as we move forward. Really good work on the financial front. And I see Mr. Richardson's also joined us. He
Thank
may
you,
have a
Roger.
word too.
Thank you for that. That was really unexpected and much appreciated by my team and I. So I really appreciate your words. And thank you for this passage. Very exciting. One more step in the process. So off to the Board of Supervisors. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, do you have a director's report for us?
Yes, I do. Ms. Birch, your team's free to excuse yourself. You're welcome to stay if you like, but otherwise we're going to go about our normal business. So oftentimes when we bring projects before the Economic Development Authority directors, we do so in terms of an individual project, and we walk it phase by phase through the process, whether that is a startup, a tier 1, tier 2 business, or maybe even a large business who's looking to expand. And today I just wanted to take a minute and look at this from a systems theory perspective, where we look at the whole of our strategy and see how it's working from cradle to grave. So I just wanted to talk through some slides in general. We're not going to talk, we might mention some businesses along the way, but I just think it's important for the community to know how well our economic development strategy is functioning and how it's supposed to function in terms of a system and the results that's being produced is that. So if you go to the next slide, please, JT. What you see before you is sort of the front door for startups in our community. A business has to have a place to start. And here's 3 examples of some of our partners that we use, whether it's writing a business plan, applying for funding, creating a website, or being connected to other resources. They can come through the front door of Venture Central, which is the new incubator startup that the county, city, UVA, and chamber is working on. The new executive director is Alex Andrew, and he's starting to write the strategic plan and will be helping high-tech, high-growth businesses, those that can be disruptive in nature and have an exit strategy. Or it could be the Community Investment Collaborative, who helps those who have limited access to capital and oftentimes marginalized or a difficult time having access to capital. Or it could be the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, which you guys have given money to help support their initiative, to help a lot of Main Street businesses. So we have numerous front doors in our community, but the general idea of our strategy is to help businesses come in, provide a proof of concept through these front doors, and then take them through a process of growth and success in our community. So once they, next slide, please, JT. once they sort of establish a minimum viable product or a minimum or a business plan that has the ability to be successful, we have other experts to support them through the growth, whether it's Seville BioHub, who helps life sciences, which this authority also helps, or it's CBIC, who helps high-tech growth startups, which also our Economic Development Office supports, or whether it's Catalyst. A Catalyst is an accelerator that's a combination of the city, the county, and UVA working together to accelerate the business. This is a critical moment for many small businesses where they have a minimal viable product, but now they got to scale. You know, they were able to produce something in a lab or create a new way of doing anything, but how do you go from a lab to generating a new product and having the capital to do that? Oftentimes this comes in the form of finding venture capital or the like. So once a business, next slide please, gets the expert support and they start scaling, it's usually about this time that they need a brick or mortar business. And this is where oftentimes they first enter into your window of or view as an authority. And oftentimes we provide customized support through matching grants to help them hire local people, or matching the Commonwealth Opportunity Fund, which provides funds to them to help them get into a building or launch their particular program, or whether it's an APHID grant to help an agribusiness, or the upcoming existing building reuse program that this authority plans to adopt. Or maybe Mr. Mottola may recognize it could be customized support like we had with Perron Robotics, who was looking for an opportunity to demonstrate their technology so they could find investors when we did Project Knight Rider. This customized support can come in many ways, but the general idea is to help these tier 1, tier 2 businesses now find a home in our community so they can stay and grow here. Next slide, please. And once they reach a certain scale, we don't stop working with them. We help them grow both domestically and or internationally. And we do that in combination with partners through the SBDC, which offers some international services, but primarily through the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. On the right-hand side, you'll see that we help an array of businesses expand, whether it's Greenberries for coffee, or it's Biomic Sciences for gut health, or Champion Brewing for beer, or Bonumos for healthy sugars. You can read these yourself, but all of these have reached a certain stage where they're ready to grow as an organization, either domestically through the Economic Gardening Program, which we help them determine what their most likely area of expansion should be by doing business intelligence and or understanding where their competition is so they can grow successfully in the United States. And then ultimately internationally. Oftentimes, these business owners, as smart as they are and as scientists, as successful they are, you know, the world works differently outside of our boundaries. So we have to help them understand the excise taxes, or how to set up a distribution system in a foreign country, or how do they go about making connections to contract manufacturers overseas. Just an array of different international services. So we often connect them through the valet program at the state level so they can stay in our community and grow in our community. And then lastly, some specific examples of what that looked like you have seen here locally, whether it's Castle Hill Gaming or Willow Tree or Afton Scientific or Bonumos or Ravenna Medical, or even locally Potter's Craft Cidery. This is kind of what our strategic plan is intended to do, is to help take an idea, tap into the intellectual capital of our community, and grow them into brick and mortar successful businesses to provide career ladder jobs, import funds in our local economy, which help improve our quality of life, grow everyone's revenues, help our small businesses survive, and ultimately enhance the economic vitality of our entire community. And I know that we often talk about economic development projects, again, one at a time, but this is how our overall system is working and how it's providing a good, valuable contribution to the economic vitality of our community. So I know that this is stuff that many of you may have known before, but I just wanted to put it in terms of a system and not necessarily of a single economic development project, which we often look at it through that lens. So with that being said, I'll just hush and see if you have any questions about the overall strategy and its success.
Roger, just one quick question. Because I think it is interesting to see the businesses that are also kind of dependent and building on our local ag industry. I wondered if you had any more thoughts about, you know, other projects that down the line, or what can we do to kind of support our apple, grape, and other, you know, segments of our ag industry locally?
Sure. You may recall that we, during the time the pandemic was having such a negative impact on all industries, we kind of stopped Project Enable, kind of paused this sort of strategy, if you will. And the board approved a business continuity strategy. And we went from helping businesses grow to helping them survive. One of those was just our normal lift grant, and certain businesses were able to provide, were provided grants to help them succeed, and those included ag businesses. One of the things that we determined is the federal government gave PPP loans and EIDL loans, and they helped certain larger businesses. And then we came in behind and provided lift grants and safe spaces grants to help, you know, the most vulnerable businesses survive, which we focus first on minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses, and then we just focused on locally owned businesses. One of the groups that fell through the cracks during all of that process were the direct to market agricultural businesses. So we connected with our local cooperative extension services, tried to identify who those are, and we created an agribusiness grant whereby we gave direct grants to those folks who kind of go farm to table, if you will, or farm to restaurant or farm to winery. So we were able to help those folks survive through that particular process. Now, Director Imhoff, we have an ongoing microloan program that the CIC administers, and the agribusinesses are often the benefactor of that particular program. It provides them access to some small capital, but certainly capital that can help them continue to expand their operations, whether that's in the form of needing a tractor or whether that's something, you know, more grandiose. They have access to the CIC, and we refer those folks to them. In terms of a longer strategy, we had begun looking at an arbitrage. I hope I said that right. I hate to call it a slaughterhouse, but I just call it what it is. And partnering with some of our community partners outside of our area, so that there can be some potential way of less expensive way of getting livestock to market. At this particular juncture, it requires a series of further investigation. So it's really a nascent idea that we started. I guess, JT, if you'll help me, that may have been pre-pandemic, which also got put on pause. So we have some things in the pipeline to consider, but we're in no way, shape, or form ready to recommend a path forward for those. We'd gladly entertain ideas if you have some others to help, you know, all of the agribusinesses grow. It certainly is part of our scope of work. JT, do you have any comments you'd like to add?
No, that's correct, Roger. And I mean, I would say that the county was interested in supporting the supply chain for our meat producers. I can remember as early as 2015. And so that's been a long time goal and interest of many of the producers in our area.
Any questions or comments from anybody? Okay, there being none, thank you very much, Roger.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice Chair, if I may, Doug Walker's been around a little longer than I have, and he may have some other thoughts he'd like to share. You're good? Thought you leaned up in your chair, sorry.
He says no. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a closed session with Mr. Newberry. Would you tell us how to log out and log back in? And
yeah, thanks, Mr. Vice Chair. So this will be a first time for everyone here. And as far as I know, everyone in the county. Previously, we've been using a different Zoom room for our closed sessions, but tonight we'll be using Microsoft Teams. And so the direction and the best practice and the recommendation tonight is to completely log out of this meeting here, and in your inbox, at the very top of your inbox, should be an invitation with an email with a link to join the Microsoft Teams closed session. We'll conduct our closed session, and then we'll come back to this meeting here using the same link that you used to join it. And I can resend that link out to the group if needed or desired. But we'll pause the recording here. The public will still see our presentation in the Zoom room, but we'll be going to Teams. We'll have our closed session and then we'll come back. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, well then.
Actually, yeah, I do. Sorry. I see the email.
Yes.
Do I need to accept this RSV? It says RSVP to this event. Do I accept that, or do I just use the click here to join the meeting link at the below the invitation?
You can just use the click here to join the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll give everybody a few minutes to jump over, but we'll see you in just a minute.
Wait, nobody leave until we do the motion.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry about that.
Director Munson.
I will let everybody, I'll get everybody back in here. Hold on just a second. See here.
Are there enough of us to vote anyway, even though we've lost Director Munson?
Yeah, as long as there's a quorum.
I think we still have a quorum. I think. I can't see everybody now, so I hope we do. Oh.
Yeah, are we able to do it?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I read the closed session motion. I move that the Albemarle County Economic Development Authority go into closed session meeting as authorized by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia under subsection 5 and 6 to discuss and consider the expansion of existing Albemarle County businesses, Project POMA and Project Befriend, where no previous announcement has been made of their interest in locating and expanding its facilities in Albemarle County, and the investment of public funds to support that location and expansion where bargaining is involved and where, if made public initially, would adversely affect the financial interest of the EDA in Albemarle County. And it says that a voice vote is permitted. That's the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, we're going to leave this site and come back in closed session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
JT, would you let me know when you've got everybody back hooked up and then we'll proceed?
Sure will.
I think we're good, JT.
Okay. Yeah, we're ready to proceed.
Okay. With the authority's permission, I will read the closed meeting certification. I move that the EDA certify by recorded vote that to the best of each director's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. And would someone do the roll call, please?
Yes, Director Ray,
Yes.
Director Shreve,
Yes,
Director Munson,
Yes.
Director Imhoff,
Yes.
Director McNaughton,
Yes.
Director Matola,
Yes.
and Supervisor McKeel.
Yes.
Okay. We're back in open session. And if I can find my agenda. Okay, did we want to revisit the treasurer's report?
can proceed with that if you'd like.
Look it up. You've got the floor.
As I suspected, there was little material change since the time of our last meeting. We reported from the beginning of the fiscal year to the end of January, $32,857.74 in operating revenue against $330,379.17 in operating expenses. Should note that these exclude any interest allocations from December or January, which haven't been recorded yet. We also have pass-through revenues of $393,021.39, which gives us net revenue for the fiscal year thus far of $62,642.22. Added to our net cash position prior to this period, we're left with a net cash position of $852,646.89, which is up from approximately $731,000 at the beginning of the fiscal year. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Shreve. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I move we approve the treasurer's report.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Okay, the financial report is adopted. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Is there anybody present who has any unfinished business to bring before the board?
Mr. Chair, if I may have the floor, please. Vice Chair. I just wanted to provide a brief update on Lewis and Clark Exploratory Center. We had several members of this respective authority want to meet with the principals of the Lewis and Clark Exploratory Center in hopes of finding some common ground and resolution to an outstanding loan they have through our EDA. Due to technological issues, they were unable to get into party discussions on how to resolve this particular issue. As a reminder, we have invited those principals from Lewis and Clark to come to our March agenda in hopes of sorting out this particular issue. In the interim, Ashley Perry from the Economic Development Office is working with a couple of the members of this respective board in hopes of scheduling another meeting at a mutually convenient time for all to see if they can make progress on sorting out how we may move forward with this outstanding loan balance. And since I wasn't actually at the meeting, I'll pause here and let Director Shreve clarify or add any other further comments that may provide additional color to this issue.
Oh, Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have that meeting set. Is that correct? Is it confirmed?
We do. I was
Yes.
actually trying to find it while everyone was speaking, and I can report back as soon as my mouse accepts my
And
authority.
it will happen in advance of the
Yes, it
the
will.
EDA meeting at which we hope to discuss this.
The meeting is scheduled for later in February.
Is it Wednesday, February 23rd, Ashley?
I think that's it, yeah.
That is, yes.
I'm
So
sorry.
the
Thank
Andrew.
you. Yes.
The
Thank
only
you,
thing
JT.
I would add to what Roger noted was that before the technical problems short-circuited our meeting, we discussed a couple of things, but then we also noticed a few things too. And I know, Roger, you were one of the first to point this out, that it was pretty obvious when we started sharing documents with them that nowhere in any of their budgets have they introduced any repayment schedule for the loan. So one of the things we're going to have to address is their perception going into this, which appears to be that they are still seeking forgiveness of the loan. And our position is that we're not. That's a non-starter. So we're going to have to get past that very quickly with them. The other thing that I noticed when I reviewed their documents was that they haven't really changed anything in a material way as far as trying to be creative about either getting new revenues or cutting costs. We appear to be at the status quo ante when we revisited this many months ago.
And just a quick refresher, that loan was actually taken out, what year? Was it
2013.
13?
Yes.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the year
Yeah,
exactly.
and interestingly enough, I looked back at those early documents that Ashley provided from that period. Their revenue projections were. Our friend Rosie Scenario was in the room at the time. So, and I don't see where they've really adjusted plans in the wake of a pretty abrupt reversal in their fortunes. And this has nothing to do with the pandemic. This happened almost immediately, 2014, 2015. After the loan was received. And they haven't appeared to have made any notable adjustments one way or the other since that time. So it's pretty striking.
What's the loan balance? Anybody have that handy?
$260,000.
Oh,
Minus
I believe it's one closer to 125,
oh,
isn't it?
excuse me. I was citing the total for the city and the county together.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. It's we have half of that, and they've paid about $5,000 toward it. Is that it, Ashley?
I don't believe it is quite that much.
Okay.
I don't believe any principal balance has been.
Okay. I thought the original note was 130,000.
125,625 is the
Okay.
outstanding balance.
Okay. They requested 130. I guess we delivered something less than that. Yes. Okay.
well, I guess the next step is for you guys to meet with them a second time.
Yes.
Not very encouraging though, is it?
No, it isn't.
What are our options to collect the money if they just?
The original construction that occupied so much of their business early on and what they were putting together there came from a VDOT grant, $800,000. And so that's almost all of their assets at any point in their history are tied to public money, not just the loan that we've delivered or the city delivered on top of that. So I spoke with Supervisor McKeel about this, and as possibility would be the county would seize the property and turn it over to Parks and Recreation, transform the way it's operated.
And I haven't discussed that any further. Dave mentioned that to me, but just for the record, I haven't discussed that any further.
I would suggest that a consideration of legal options be discussed in closed meeting.
Good, thank you. I'm fine with that.
The only glimmer of hope that I see for repayment, and it would be a modest repayment, so it wouldn't happen overnight. And by the way, the other thing I noticed in the early documents was they were anticipating a 3-year repayment schedule, but sort of promised that they thought they could do it on a more ambitious, faster timetable than that, and going back to 2013. So yeah, this has really come a long way. But the only glimmer of hope I see is that about, let's see, it's probably close to 35–40% of their budget is going to health insurance for the principal officer. I did a quick back of the envelope calculation and determined that if they sought instead an ACA subsidy for health insurance and got off out of the exclusively private market at which they're buying the policy now, they would save about $25,000 to $28,000. And obtain the same kind of coverage. I'm a little surprised that they didn't consider something like that so far, but I don't see much hope for changing their outlook on bringing in revenue or saving much in the way of how they budget, except for that.
David, Dr. Street, I think that's a wonderful recommendation to make to them. It is a very small shop, so there's not a lot of ways you can save. I think coming out of the pandemic, there may be some facility rental opportunities for them if they kind of maybe pursue that with a more heightened enthusiasm. They may have been very enthusiastic, but
yeah, I think it's, if they can somehow right this ship, and let's say they say, oh yeah, great idea, we'll save the 25 grand and we'll start paying back the loan with that savings, which they're in deficit, so it wouldn't all go toward that, but a substantial amount could. I still don't think that they'll ever make their budget with rentals and fees and that sort of thing. They're going to have to get grants and donations. It's that kind of a nonprofit.
yeah, they are a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different business model. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to suggest that you guys go ahead and have your next meeting with them and bring this item back for a closed session at our March 15th meeting. Does that sound okay with everybody? Okay. Anything else on that item? Okay, agenda item number 7, other matters. Did we already do that? Okay, our next meeting is March 15th, 2022. And I'll entertain a motion for us to adjourn. And thank you so much.
It's the Ides of March. Be prepared.
Thanks.
Do we have a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right.
All in favor of adjournment? I don't expect many no's.
Aye.
Bye. Stay
Have a
healthy.
nice
care.
one.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.